Yeah, good morning everyone. Welcome to my YouTube classes, C. Ronagal tax classes. Due to request from many students, I have decided to upload a series of amendments applicable for July 2020 and November 2020 examinations. Those are, I'll be uploading all the amendments incorporated in Finance Act 2019. These amendments will be applicable for the students who are writing in July 2020 and November 2020 examinations, and it will be uploaded through a series of videos. And I assure you that if you go through these videos now and one day before examinations, 20 to 25 marks can be expected from these videos, because I will be only covering the amendments. So when I cover the amendments, I will also be focusing on the provision of that section. Then I'll tell you what was the amendment came and the reason of the amendment as well. So if you have all the amendments at one place, it becomes very easy for you to write the examinations. All these amendments are applicable for those CA students writing in July 2020 or November 2020 examinations. I will be covering amendments of Finance Act 2019 and Taxation Ordinance laws amendments as well. So the first video on the amendment series will be starting today with concept of International Financial Service Center. This is a new topic which they have introduced. So let us understand what does this concept means. Then I'll tell you the amendment backgrounds and right. If you want to copy the notes, you can take a pen and paper in front of a book and you can make the notes as well. Okay. Now what do you mean by International Financial Service Centers? Now what happened is, everyone knows in your C articles there is a group of companies or companies which are called as Big Fours. Who are those? Those are EY, PwC, Deloitte and KPMG. So when Narendra Modi was giving a speech to CA fraternity on 1st July 2017, what is this date famous for? This famous date is famous for not only introduction of GST, also it's a Chartered Accountants Day. Yet CA Act came on this date, 1st July. So he gave an apprehension that why only these all four are non-Indian companies. These Big Fours are non-Indian companies. These are the Big Four, the most big accounting firms of the world: EY, PwC, Deloitte and KPMG. And he said it's very sad to know that in that particular list there is no Indian firm into this. There is no Indian consultant in this particular Big Four. So Modi said, we will give a platform to Indian CA firms. We will give platform to Indian professionals. We will give them a platform for Indian service providers so that they can compete with Big Fours. Generally, when two mergers happens, for example, when WhatsApp was taken by Facebook, EY was the advisor, which was a non-Indian company. Modi said, why didn't they consult an Indian firm? Do you think Indian firms are not capable to provide the services? No, they're definitely capable. Then what's the problem? So government said, we will introduce a concept called International Financial Service Centers. So when Arun Jaitley is announcing this amendment in a press conference, lot of questions was asked by reporters. I'll tell you what are the questions was asked and I'll give the answers accordingly. So when the reporter asked, what do you mean by the short form is IFSC. शॉर्ट फॉर्म क्या है? IFSC. So government says, what do you mean IFSC? International Financial Service Centers. So government said, if you are a service provider, you should provide your services internationally ante to foreign clients. You have office in India, but you are providing services outside India internationally. Now the question is, what kind of services? Government says it should be financial services. What in by financial services? Financial services can be forex services, capital budgeting, portfolio management, bond valuation, tax services, etc. Forex, capital budgeting, portfolio management, bond valuation, tax services, etc. So it means government said, if any CA firm or any consultancy firm is providing services, kaha? Internationally or outside India. So what is the logic, sir? Any Indian firm, what should they do? They provide services globally, and they receive what? They should receive money. Money has to be received in foreign currency. If an Indian CA firm is providing services internationally or globally or outside India, and they are receiving money in foreign currency, then government said, if your intention is to do this, we will give you a platform. That platform name is called IFSC, International Financial Service Center. Like any area in India is designated as SEZ, says, like how in Gujarat a land is allotted to IFSC. Any firm who wants to provide services globally and receive money in foreign currency, they can go to that particular place and set up their office and provide services from that office. Like you work from SEZ, you will work from IFSC. If you have an office in IFSC, we say you have a unit in IFSC. If you have an office in IFSC, we say you have a unit in IFSC. That is International Financial Service Center. As of now, only one company we have which is located in IFSC, and the name of that company is GIFT. GIFT, Gujarat International Finance Tech City. The name of the company is Gujarat International Finance Tech City. That is the only IFSC center we have in India as of today. So last time, let us understand the background before we start the tax implication and Income Tax Act. Government says, we want you to compete with this international big fours. We will give you the platform, we will give you the benefits, but your objective should be, you should be an Indian firm, you should render services outside India or globally. Services can be any CA services, consultant services, and the money has to be received in foreign currency. You can set up your office in that area, then it is called you have a unit in IFSC, and there is only one company as of now located in IFSC, that is called GIFT, Gujarat International Finance Tech City. Am I clear till here? Now, what are the benefits given to them under Income Tax Act? Benefits to IFSC under Income Tax Act 1961. First benefit we are giving to IFSC is they need not pay STT to government. They need not pay STT, no securities transaction tax, no STT, they did not pay STT. Number 2, provisions of 111A and 112A will apply even though STT is not paid. Generally, the section will apply. 111A is for short term, 112A is long term. If you sell listed equity shares, units of equity oriented mutual fund or units of business trust in recognized stock exchange where STT is paid, but it's an exception to them. Even though no STT, for them 111A 15%, 112A 10% in excess of 1 lakh capital gains at the rate of 10% will apply, even though they are not paying STT. Number 3, for them MAT rate, a rate is 9% instead of 18.5%, now reduced to 15. So they have a lower MAT rate, minimum alternate tax. Technically the rate is 18.5, but for them it is only 9%. And number 4, for them AMT rate, alternate minimum tax, is also 9%. For others it is 18.5%. So let us repeat those 4 benefits once again. No STT, provisions of 112A and 11A will apply even though STT is not paid. MAT rate instead of 18.5 is 9. AMT rate instead of 18.5 is 9. And number 5, when they pay dividend, who pay dividend? IFSC can be registered as a company, can be registered as a firm, depends. If it is registered as a company, they will pay dividend. Every dividend, to whom will they pay dividend? They will pay dividend to shareholders. So when IFSC pay what? Dividend, they need not pay dividend distribution tax. They need not pay dividend distribution tax. Am I clear? And number 6th benefit, 7 benefits we have, I am covering the 6th one. When they receive dividend, then what is 0.5 then? When 0.5 is when they pay dividend, 0.6 is when they receive dividend from mutual fund company. Mutual fund company will need not pay DDT. So let us repeat the 6 benefits given to them, then I'll cover the other concepts. They need not pay securities transaction tax. Provisions of 11A and 112A will apply even though STT is not paid. MAT rate is 9%. AMT rate is 9%. When they pay dividend to shareholders, they will not pay DDT. When they receive dividend from mutual fund companies, mutual fund company will need not pay DDT. Am I clear with this 6 benefits given to international financial service centers? Okay. Next, we have various sections applicable to them. The sections applicable to them are, we have one section called ATLA applicable to them. We have one section called ATLA applicable to them. We have one section called section 47 clause 17 AB applicable to them. We have section 10 4D applicable to them. and we also have 10 subsection 15 applicable to them. These are the 4 sections which speaks on International Financial Service Centers under Income Tax Act. Under Income Tax Act. Okay. Now, let us talk about 80A. This is a section under deductions under chapter 6A. If you remember from your IPCC level, deduction speaks about 80C to 80U. And this is coming under that category between 80C to 80U deduction. This section says, if you are International Financial Service Center, you need not pay tax on income. For you, no income tax. For you, no income tax. For you, no income tax for 10 years. No income tax for 10 years. But Arun Jaitley made an amendment. Arun Jaitley said, no income tax for any 10 years out of 15 years. Ante from first year 1 to year 15, you decide any 10 years you want. In that 10 years, you need not pay any tax on your income earned by the unit located in IFSC or your office located in International Financial Service Centers. So when I use the word no tax, it means first we add to income. Whatever income you got, we will add to your GTI. We will add to your GTI. Then we will deduct 100% under section 80LA. We will deduct 100% under section 80LA. So कैसा होता? For example, I earn 10 crore rupees. I will add 10 crores to my GTI. My GTI will be 10 crores. Less deduction under chapter 6A. Under that 80 LA, 100% of 10 crores. 10 crores. 10 crores minus 10 crores. Net taxable income will be 0. Tax also will be 0. This I can do for 10 years out of 15 years. Am I clear with 80 LA? This is the deduction given to IFSC. 10 years pay, no tax out of 15 years. No tax, well, the first we add, then we deduct. First we add, then we deduct. Am I clear with 80 LA? Next, second section कौन सा है? 47 clause 17AB. This section says, if a non-resident or foreign company, if a non-resident or foreign company sells, if a non-resident or foreign company sells क्या? Bonds, GDR అంటే Global Depository Receipts, RDB, rupee denominated bonds or derivatives. Chalo, once again, if a non-resident or foreign company, assuming Jack Ma, assuming Alibaba owner, Chinese company owner, Alibaba, he is a non-resident. He sells what? Bonds. Assuming you take this example, bonds. Who is selling? Alibaba in recognized stock exchange. In recognized stock exchange, recognized, okay, whenever I talk about recognized, you should know only two recognized we have in India. One is Bombay, one is national. But government will be soon introducing one more stock exchange in this unit also, very soon coming up. Chalo, once again, what does 47 clause 17 AB says? If a non-resident like Alibaba sells what? Bonds. Ekkada? Recognized stock exchange. In IFSC, in foreign currency. In foreign currency. So last time, if Alibaba, Jack Ma sells bonds in stock market, which will be located in the IFSC in foreign currency, whenever you sell something you get money, government clarified that will not be treated as transfer. That will not be treated as transfer. No transfer, no capital gains. So Jack Ma need not pay tax on the transaction because government clarified it is not a transfer. No transfer, no capital gains. No transfer, no capital gains. Am I clear with this? So let us repeat. What does ATLA says? ATLA says your income will be allowed as deduction for 10 out of 15 years. So first we add, then we deduct. Net income becomes 0. It means no tax for 10 years. What does this section says? This section is promoting foreigners to invest in IFSC units. If they invest in bonds, derivatives, rupee denominated bonds and global depository receipts in stock market in IFSC coming soon in foreign currency, the transaction is not treated as transfer. If it's not a transfer, no capital gains. This is covered under ATLA is done. 47 clause 17 AB is done. Now we are left with 10, 4D and 10, 15. Let us see what is given there in that section now. 10, 14. We'll cover 10, 15 first. We'll cover what? 10, 15. Now listen. इसका background समझो पहले आप. Which section का? 10, 15. Now listen. I'll take my example only. Yes, sir. Thank you, Arun Jaitley. I and Srinivas have decided that we'll set up one office in IFSC. But to set up that office, we want 25 lakhs. We want 25 lakhs. Government says, we can only give you the infrastructure, but we can't give you the funds. We can give you infrastructure if you want, but we can't give you funds. So what did I do? I took money from Alibaba. I took money from Alibaba and paying interest. Ever ki? Alibaba ki. Who is paying interest? Indian firm is paying interest. To whom? Alibaba. Ever ki income? Kisko income hai? It's an income to Alibaba, and government says Alibaba, as it is income for you, you have to pay TAX. What is TAX? Tax on income. Alibaba said, do you have any shame, Indian government? First of all, you are not providing the funds. We are helping your Indian firm, and on top of that you are asking us to pay the tax. Get lost, we will not give funds only. So who will lose at the end of the day if they don't give you funds? We will lose. The firm, Indian firm will lose. So a section was introduced called 10-15, which says any interest income paid to non-resident or foreign company, that is Alibaba, by IFSC unit, that is me and Srinivas, for money borrowed, for money borrowed, is exempt in the hands of non-resident. Is exempt in the hands of non-resident. So let us repeat this once again. This section was introduced so that it gives incentive to Alibaba to give the funds to the unit located or offices of IFSC. Else, if this section is not introduced, they will not be motivated to give the funds. So once again, any interest income, what I am paying to Alibaba, pay to non-resident Alibaba by Ronak and Srinivas for money borrowed on or after 1/9/2019. On or after 1/9/2019 shall be exempt in the hands of non-resident. Shall be exempt in the hands of non-resident. That is the logic behind this, so that it gives incentive to Alibaba to give the loan to us. If this is not there, they will say we are helping your Indian firm, and on top of that you are asking us to pay the tax. We will not give the funds only. To encourage them, this section was in which section? 10, 15. Chalo, once again, I told you how many sections we have in this small topic? 4. 80 LA done. 100% profits are allowed for 10 out of 15 years. 47 clause 7. If they sell the bonds in IFSC, it's not a transfer, no capital gains. 10, 15. 10, 15 is if I am paying interest to non-resident for the loan taken on or after 1/9/19, it is exempt in the hands of non-resident. And what is 10? Subsection 4D. Listen now. Section 10, subsection 4D. This section says, if a company or partnership firm, if a company or partnership firm, company unte shareholders, partnership firm unte partners, either shareholders for companies, partners for, are 100% non-resident, are 100% non-resident, and transfers securities referred under section 47 clause 17AB, that is bonds, rupee denominated bonds, derivatives and securities. If they sell under 47 clause 17AB in RSC located in IFSC, then such income is also exempt. Under section 10(4)(d). Under section 10 subsection 4D. that is also exempt. So the amendment happened under this concept was, these three are new amendments. 47 clause 17AB is an amendment, 10(4)D is an amendment, 10(15) also amendment. So I repeat, due to request from many students, I will be uploading a cluster series of videos, not one video. Every video will be around 20-25 minutes only max, so that it will not be boring for you to go through long videos. But if you go through all the videos one day before exam relevant to amendments, it will be very easy for you. Where can you find these videos? You can find these videos in my YouTube channel. You can just type Google CA Ronogold tax classes, you will find these videos. You can watch it now and also one day before examination. Kindly do not forget to subscribe the channel and click the bell icon, so whenever I upload the amendment, you will get the notification immediately. Only you not wait for me, when will it come? Click on bell icon, you will get the notification immediately. Thank you so much. Next video will be on return of income and assessment procedure, amendments relevant to return of income and assessment procedures. Thank you. Have a nice day.